We're now going to discuss installing and getting the Bonelab repository. So to start up, open up your shell and type cd once. Cd takes you to your home directory. If you type ls, you're going to see many things such as your documents, your downloads, etc., 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 these files. What I'd like you to do is make a directory called projects, make dir projects. If we now come down and we click on any of your things, so desktop is a common one. If you right-click desktop and go backwards one, you'll see a repository called projects. It should be empty. We're then going to cd into projects. We can make sure we're there with pwd/user/besler/projects. And then finally, come back to the Bonelab repository. There's this clone or download feature. Yours is going to be an HTTPS, but if you would like to, you can go through and set up a secure shell to GitHub. To do this, search GitHub, add SSH key. I've already done that, but copy this link, whatever it is. Coming back here, type git clone this, blah, blah, and we've now cloned it. If we do an ls, we see the directory is there. If we look at projects, we now see a directory called Bonelab, and it has all the files and directories that we previously saw here. Stop at this point if you're having troubles. Make sure you have the directory installed. You can cd into Bonelab, and you can see it. We're now going to do a conda install. So if you look down here, we have this small little command that tells you how to go ahead and do this install. We're not going to use the environment file. Instead, we're going to use this long command, and we'll begin. Open up your terminal, copy paste it, hit enter. As this is running, I'll describe what's happening. We're asking Conda to create an environment with the name BL Bonelab. Apologies for the interruption. Once this has all happened, hit yes. It'll begin installing. So as I mentioned, we're asking Conda to create an environment named Bonelab. The packages come from the channels numerics88, simpleitk, and conda-forge. We want Python version 3.7, N88 tools, PBR, nose, 6, simpleitk, pydicom, and gdcm. Simply put, N88 tools is all the numerics88 software. PBR is how we manage the Python project. Nose is how we run tests. 6 is for some compatibility. simpleitk is a really great package, and implicitly in N88 tools we'll be installing VTK. pydicom is for working with dicoms in Python, and gdcm, grassroots dicoms, is probably the best open source project there is right now for working with dicoms. This may take a while. It didn't in my case because I have most of the packages already installed. But we're going to go through, finish this install. So we see the installs finished. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a conda list. So when we do the conda list, conda env list. My apologies. So conda list lists all the package in your current repository. Conda env list lists all the environments. So we have one called base. We have one called BL for Bonelab. And then I have some extra ones that are purely mine. So BL, TensorFlow, Fame, Ogo, and TensorFlow. These are all my specific repositories for projects I'm working on. What you should see now is base, BL, and you might already have the Fame repository installed. We're then going to go ahead and activate it. Conda activate BL. And you'll see that on the left it changed from base to BL. We're now there. You want to make sure you're in this Bonelab repository directory. So your name, your users, /project/Bonelab. We're then going to do a pip install -e dot. So pip is a Python manager for Python package installer and manager. So we're asking pip to install the current directory, and this -e means editable. So if we make a small change to the code, it'll automatically be updated in pip. We don't have to reinstall each time. This has some drawbacks. It's incredibly slow to run the first time, so that's to rebuild all the pyc files, but that's okay. We'd rather it be convenient. Hit enter, pip install will start. And so as this goes, if you're interested, what's happening is it's running this setup.py, it's going into the config, it'll add all these little entry points we have, it'll make sure, oopsie, not the environment, it'll make sure all these requirements.txt files are installed. So for instance, we didn't specify pandas or this Excel reader, so it's going to go and fetch those. Neither did we specify matplotlib. So if we look, it went and installed a bunch of dependencies that we didn't specify inside of the Conda package. This is okay. Ran successfully, we're installed. So if you type clear, it'll clear your directory. You can now do BL and press tab twice. Tab. Oh, my bad. We have to deactivate. Conda deactivate. Conda activate BL. Now BL, tab. So it gives you all of these tools I was talking about previously. So we can now run, for instance, BL image convert -h. Let's see what that does for us. As I mentioned, it's an editable format. It takes a very long time to run the first time. That's okay. BL image convert -h. Connect my laptop at 22%. So if you do get curious, we have this egg info, which is a pip thing. But inside you'll see pycache with a bunch of pyc files. You're going to start to see, for instance, image convert.pyc. It's producing that file right now. And for each one you run, it takes a very long time just to produce those. Next time you run it, it goes very fast. At this point, the install is set up. The one thing I would like to mention as this runs this first pyc thing is that this install is subject to change. So the master file in the GitHub repository, README.rst, it gets rendered below. You're going to see all of this install directory information. Git clone, git env, blah, blah, blah. This is the directory, this is the master file. If you have troubles following this video, go back to this master file because that'll be the one that's actually running. Might as well poke around, see what's going. There we go, finally ended. So if we do that again now, happens much faster. So if you type AIX, you'll get AIX, etc., etc. At this point, you have the Bone Imaging Laboratory installed, and you can use those softwares.